World-shaking events in Dungeons & Dragons move the story and campaign forward. Join us as we talk 10 world-shaking events to leave your setting and players trembling. Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
And I'm your co-host, Brandon.
You want to take that, Brandon?
Where? Yeah, sure. We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
I am super excited for today. I don't know about you, but D&D is my passion. So, of course...
That's an understatement.
So, of course, I'm always doing whatever I can to learn more and educate myself. When I was a D&D insider for 4th edition, I collected all kinds of their digital magazines. And one of them I was reading, and I wanted to talk about this topic so much. 10 world-shaking events for Dungeons & Dragons. The concept comes from Dragon Magazine 430. If you can Google it and find it, it's a really great read. You should do that. But in the meantime, we're going to talk and give you our thoughts and feelings on the topic.
Yeah.
Brandon, why don't you get us started?
Oh, when we think of world-shaking events, we tend to think big war. Or we tend to think big. Wars that pit the forces of good against evil in a final confrontation. Natural disasters that lay waste to entire civilizations. Invasions of vast armies or extraplanar hordes. Oh, that sounds awesome. The assassinations of world leaders. These are the events that title the chapters of history.
And in any story, whether it's a book or a movie, there is a variety of different ways that these events occur. It's not just the most obvious, like cataclysmic, but they're big enough that they become, they change the world in some way. And our D&D world shouldn't be any different. Even if it doesn't directly involve the characters right away, the results should. So these are in no particular order, but we're going to start with the rise of a leader. In dramatic stories, a new leader's rise often comes at the end of a period of struggle or turmoil, right? Sometimes it's a war or an uprising. Other times it's an election, 2016. The death of a tyrant.
No politics.
Right. Policy, that's more a moral decision. The prophecy fulfilled or an appointment of a hero. Conversely, the new leader might be a tyrant, might be incompetent, might be a fiend, or black-hearted villain. And the era that just ended could have been one of peace, tranquility, and justice.
Cheers.
What are some really good examples, whether in your favorite pop culture, your game, whatever, where the rise of a leader shook the world in that setting?
Oh, shit. The Queen in Game of Thrones.
Which one?
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
It's been 3
out since
years.
forever.
Oh, well, okay. I guess that's fine.
What's her face?
I don't know.
The blonde who was put out to the street. Shame! Shame!
Oh, that was Cersei.
Seriously, yeah, her.
Okay.
And then there's Daenerys Targaryen, and then there's
Daenerys
Sansa
Targaryen.
Stark.
How did that affect the setting?
Yeah. Actually, for me, the example that came to mind, for me at least, was Berserk with the rise of Griffith.
Yes, that's a good example.
And man, did he fall hard.
Do you want to tell people
The rise
about
again.
how that impacted the setting? Because that's what we want to get across, that they're not just coming to power. Their decisions after that point changes things.
I always see with the case of Griffith, he basically sacrifices his entire army to basically become a demon king, essentially.
Yeah.
I need to watch that show.
So that not only
No,
affected
read it. Don't watch it.
yeah, the manga is really good stuff. In that case, you see the loss of an entire army, which is going to shift the balance of power instantly. It's going to affect all the families of those people in the army, which means now they're going to have to get a new army, and those are going to have to come from some people. So now you've got a forced.
Or in this case, he kind of came back with a demon army.
Well, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is that is an example of something that impacted the setting in a traumatic fashion, right? Do you have anything else as far as a rising of a leader?
No, I know I do, but I just can't think of one.
Really? You guys got nothing else?
The Dragon Reborn.
That's what I'm thinking. We have the new Wheel of Time series just the anime or the movie or series came out.
The TV show.
The TV show, whatever. And that's an example of a rise of a leader that talks about this prophecy that this person doesn't want to be involved in at all, but the whole world is stitched around him, and this person's actions start to create waves and turn different people into different ways of thinking, which is exciting. Do you have any interesting if you've got a really favorite rising leader story, share it in the comments. So let's move on to number 2. Ian, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
The exact opposite. The death of a leader. All that begins must end. With the fall of kings and queens, the maps of the world are redrawn. Laws change and cultures are altered.
Wow.
Brandon, you're purple.
Yeah, I know what I am. You yellow. The fall of a tribal warlord means one thing to the larger powers attempting to tame the land under one rule, and something entirely different to the tribe he ruled.
When these people lived, they shaped their civilization and their culture. And when they passed on, the world wasn't the same in their absence. The attitude of the inhabitants shifts subtly at first and then changes dramatically as the people look back or reminisce about the times before. When I was reading this, the first thing I thought of is, I don't know if you've ever watched the anime No Game No Life.
Yep.
No.
But if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. There needs to be more episodes.
It does.
But in one early season, one of the kings dies, and that leaves that part being filled by somebody else. Now, the king was known to be a fool, right? And has completely driven this kingdom into the ground. And the new person takes power and takes it in a different direction. But it soon is revealed that was necessary. The foolish king actions were necessary in order to overcome an upcoming obstacle. And it all unfolds really well. So the way the people perceive the new kings is not well. They think they probably need a new way of ruling because the king almost cost them everything.
Yep.
I need to watch that.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I see it on those
It's
so many
so
times.
good.
I'm like,
If you like intellectual type shows, it'll fucking knock your brain off. What are some other examples of good stories of deaths of a leader where it changed the setting?
Well, once again, Game of Thrones.
I guess that one's going to be a popular one that keep coming back. A specific example?
Yeah, when King Robert died, it literally split the kingdom into 5 separate factions at least.
That's a really good example. And that and I can relate to that in
like really at the end of the day, he was essentially a poor leader, but he was charismatic. And that charisma kind of held things together.
Yeah, that's a good one. In the Stormlight Archives,
Yep.
The start of the first book, it talks about the death of this king, and it shatters the princedoms into their own little factions instead of being ruled under one king. And so they start squabbling amongst themselves, and it becomes a battle against those that were allies just moments before. So I say moments, but it was, it took years. But the whole culture changed because of that. Do you have anything, Brandon?
Yes. This is old school. It's going back to Magic Knight Rayearth.
God, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's
forever.
it's an anime, and Spoiler alert. I mean, it's like 30 years old, so you're way behind. At the end of season 1, the leader is killed. They get killed off. And the issue with, I think the land is called Zephyro. I can't exactly remember the name of the place. But without a leader, it starts to collapse in on itself, becomes this chaotic mess of just horrifying violence and demons and such. And now they got these 3 separate factions, I think it's 3 of them, fighting to get to the crown of Zephyro. And whoever owns the crown, whoever the crown decides to choose to be the leader, becomes the next leader of that thing. But until the leader's chosen, the entire land is put into chaos, and it just sucks for everyone.
Andrew says, JN in the Redwall series, the death of the Badgerlord can be a tremendous sea change for the area. I've not read that, but I've heard good things, and it sounds like Ian too.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the third one. Now, I think when it comes to world-shaking events, this is the most common. Cataclysmic disaster, earthquakes, famine, fire, plagues, floods. Disasters on a grand scale can eradicate whole civilizations suddenly and without warning. They redraw maps, destroy economies, and alter worlds.
Sometimes the survivors rebuild from the ruins. The Great Chicago Fire, for instance, provided an opportunity to rebuild the city according to a modern plan. Most of the time, the disaster leaves only ruins, buried under ash like Pompeii, or sunk beneath the waves like mythical Atlantis.
You can use real historical cataclysms and their history to bring ideas forth for your world's cataclysm. For instance, think of warping up the planetary planes and magic gone awry, like a nuclear incident.
Ooh.
They're big events that unnaturally alter the land and society.
Yeah, Chernobyl.
I really, really like this. So the one thing I want to talk about here is cataclysmic disaster. One of the best examples of this is when I was in D&D, or not D&D, Final Fantasy 14. When it first came out, the game was so horrible. The developers were like, all right, we got to redo this. We're going to put new people in charge. Well, what are we going to do about the current world? Let's drop a meteor on it. That's literally what happened. Except for the meteor turned out to be a dragon, sealed away as Bahamut busts free and rains hellfire everywhere, completely reshaping the land.
Really their excuse for making it better? Let's just destroy it and restart?
Yes.
That's quite literally what happened. But because of that, all the world itself changed. It looked different. And that was a really great example of a cataclysmic disaster. Andrew says in Dragonlance series, there is a cataclysm where the gods dropped a mountain on a holy city. That'll reshape their beliefs instantly. Cause port times to become inland, deserts to be developed in new seas, etc. Those are the types of things that I can be in. They don't have to they don't have to be events that occur 1,000 years ago. Once again, I want to go back to the Final Fantasy. When you start the game, it's 10 years after that event. So it's fresh in everyone's mind. They still have family members that had died because of it and cities that were demolished, and they're still going through the recovery process. You can start your campaign when that's just happened, or maybe it's about to happen, and the whole goal is to figure out how can we stop it. If we can't, how can we survive it?
Yeah, I just referenced in chat how when we were doing Dawn of Worlds, just me and you.
Yep.
Like, you dropped a meteor on the home volcano of my fire dwarves. Oh, it did.
Yeah, because you were trying to take over my people, and you did anyway.
But say all it really did was piss them off.
Any other ideas for this? I think the flooding is a good one. If you really wanted to do an event like a naval style adventure, you could have it where the gods go to war and the city is flooded, so now everyone has to adapt and survive on boats and shit.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of what is it, 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea? No.
You mean
Waterworld, maybe? Something
too.
like that, where they had to adapt. You guys got anything else?
Yeah, Waterworld. I was thinking the Matrix and how the AI uprising happened, but that's more of a...
I would say that's
it's more of an invasion.
Yeah, that would be one of the ones later, so we can talk a little. Actually, that's a good segue. Why don't you take that?
Segue. Number 4 is invasion or assault. One of the most common world-shaking events an invasion occurs when one group forcibly takes over another, usually by military strength, but also by infiltration and occupation.
Well, an assault differs from an invasion in that the attacking force is not necessarily interested in occupation or taking power. On the other hand, an assault might be the first step of an invasion.
Yeah, this is something I think fits more along with what you were talking about. So, as a world-shaking event, an assault or an invasion makes a definite impact. I'm sorry, a definitive impact. It can't be just another military action, regardless of the scale. The incursion stands out because its repercussions change the character's world, and its effects resonate long after the initial attack or takeover.
Like the example of the Matrix is when it gets down to the pure core of the lore of that entire universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's that the AI it started gaining its own um, consciousness, like becoming self-aware, and it got into all these arguments with humans, and they start fighting back and forth. Now, when you're watching the movies and you see the real world, the sky is always black. That's because human beings
Scorch the sky.
scorch the sky, and they made it that way because they thought that robots always relied on solar power.
Right, right.
And then the robots turned around and said, "Okay, we're gonna make humans, and make them our own power source."
And so the whole world changes because of that. Now, though, it's a dark world.
Yeah.
Desolate except for machines that are automated and got people in tubes, right?
Yep.
That's a really great example of like a high end of that, where the invasion really changed the way the world was shaped and utilized. You have any examples? Yeah.
Like, remember in the Dune book series, in the later books, the galaxy as we knew it suddenly got invaded by the other Matres, which was a religious order.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out as you go, like, oh, they sounds like they weren't conquering for this just for the sake of conquering. Sounds like they were running away from something even way worse.
That's so there's a lot you can do with the invasion or assault.
Oh, yeah.
I think in the I just hate to do the Wheel of Time again, but there's a group of people they're the Shan Chan.
Yep.
They're an invasion, and that and the I think the Aiel War was an invasion where the whole world and everyone's perception of the way everything goes changed because of those events.
Or at the very least, the people believed it was an invasion.
That's true.
That's all.
I might not be far enough to know. I see what you did there. Yeah. Very, very non-spoilerly description there. So yeah, I think that this is a really good one because this can be a really great reason to introduce new races or new cultures to your world. They come from a far off land. Isn't that in
it's in the Avengers.
Lord of the Rings? Isn't that where the elves sailed from somebody over? Wait, am I thinking? Is it Lord of the Rings, right?
The elves came from
the elves came from somebody overseas. I don't know where it is because I only seen the movies. But
yeah,
they don't actually say where it comes. But it happened in Aragon was like that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
The elves came from some faraway place. That could be considered a quote unquote invasion. It doesn't have to necessarily be aggressive, but it's going to change the way it unfolds. Number 5 is rebellion, revolution, and overthrow.
Dissatisfied with the current order, a person or group of people overturns the dominant regime and takes over. Or in some cases, fails to take over. Scrubs.
January 6th.
You would have just worked a little harder.
No politics. Regardless of the result, a revolution, even an attempted one, can shake the world and shape the destiny of nations.
I would argue January 6th was not politics.
Dude, move on.
Just saying.
We're a D&D podcast.
It's an event.
D&D podcast,
that was
move on.
An event.
It was a world-shaking event. Okay, maybe country-shaking event.
In a medieval fantasy world,
not.
Revolutions are often bloody and brutal, but they need not always be. Non-violent revolutions or overthrows, such as the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia, yeah,
don't worry, baby,
in 1980, fuck you, in 1989, can occur as the result of a vote or mass protest.
The scale of a revolution, no matter how many people, need not involve the common masses against nobility. A revolution can be as small as a merchant's guild revolting against its leadership or a church overthrowing its priesthood in favor of a new creed. The spirits of the forest might attempt to overthrow the forces of civilization in a nearby city that cut down trees for timber. Alternatively, the scale can be as dramatic as humanity rising to overthrow the gods. There's a lot of really good examples of this. I don't want to get too much into like the Matrix things, but iRobot was a lot about this, right? In the sci-fi setting, the iRobot is the AI decided humans are too dumb and unreliable to manage themselves, so they need to be controlled.
Sadly, they may not be wrong.
Right?
Isn't there a
Yeah.
rebellion and revolution in France at one point?
Yes.
The French Revolution.
Yeah.
There's a lot of revolutions, but it's usually under the guise of making some sort of improvement. While that's not always the case, it usually will shape the world in some way. I really like the idea of a merchants guild saying, "I'm tired of being controlled by the." I'm not getting political. The government, which could be nobles, it could be whatever city of people is there, and say we're no longer paying taxes. Well, that may seem, easy, send the guards in, but what are you going to do when no food is coming in? When there's no trade for common tools and things that are needed for people to do their jobs? It completely can shut down the country as a whole. And it might just be, we want less taxes,
Yep.
So there's a lot you can do with that.
There's like five more, but we're kind of nearing the halfway point right now. So
But we also started later too because of problems.
True.
So next up, we're going to talk extinction and depletion. Something is gone from the campaign world. It once existed, now it doesn't. This might be a variety of plants, precious resources, mithril, adamantine come to mind, an animal species or a wild game of the region, or an entire race or culture of people. This element or creature is hunted or exploited to extinction, or else suffer some other fate that eliminates it from the part of the world, leaving behind nothing but its memory. This absence can cause a chain reaction of issues that can affect everything worldwide.
I do appreciate a good post-apocalyptic campaign.
Yes. And I think this is a really good one because this is something that can happen a lot and very easily, right? You see it happen with mining, right? You go through and you mine something and it runs out.
Yeah.
Oil runs out, right? It's no different in your world. Maybe the weave has its limits.
Yep.
What is in Final Fantasy VII? The whole thing is the big companies are sucking the life force from the planet to power everything, but it's killing the planet. It's a limited resource.
No. Again, I'm actually thinking about the fact that once again I'm reading yet another Discworld book, and it's heavily touched upon the fact that, hey, wizards, no women. And it's played off as a joke many times, but it turned out that wizards used to allowed to have kids in the past, but it led to so many magic users that tore the world apart.
Yep. Isn't that the theme of no, that was the gods left in, is it Dark Sun or Dragonlance?
I think.
Which one was it that the gods just ceased to exist?
I feel like that's Dark Sun.
So so that changes the way it works, right? The whole world becomes affected. If magic suddenly disappeared from a world based around magic, how would that affect the world?
That would definitely screw over a few things, and goodbye clerics.
Right.
I like the
Mitchell Adams says, "Oh, I love that. I commonly make Dragonborns extinct in my game worlds." Did you say?
I like the interstellar idea.
Yep.
That one's fun.
Going interstellar?
Have you not seen Interstellar?
I've not.
It's on my to-do list.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's a depletion issue, and that's that.
We're killing the planet?
No, it's not that we're killing the planet. It's that we've run out of food because we've genetically altered corn and all these vegetables and stuff so much that they just don't grow no more.
Wow.
So it's up to these people to go through this wormhole into this different galaxy where we found several planets to try to find a new home.
I love it. There's no reason you couldn't apply that into a local continent, right? Where you have to expand out from the continent or connect into another realm. In Sliders, there's the world is dying in one of those, so they developed sliding technology so they could go and steal the resources from another plane.
That's fucked up.
Or shoot, that's like the whole point of like the orcs in the Warcraft series. The planet they came from was destroyed, so they basically planet hopping from one to another.
I don't know how I didn't think about that. Yeah, that was the thing though when they crossed over into Kalimdor. How about do you want to touch on the New World Order, Brandon?
New World Order. We're not far off. The foundation, the foundation of a new world, of a new order, kingdom, religion, society, cable, yeah, or cult can shake the world with its actions, doctrine, dogma, and policies. On a local scale, a new order contends with the existing power groups, influencing, subverting, dominating, or allying with them to create a stronger base of power.
Large and powerful organizations can exert enough influence to rule the world. Some new organizations benefit the populace, while others grow to threaten the civilization they once protected.
Isn't the whole last Star Wars movie all about this, or the first one? Isn't it literally the name of the enemy, the New Order or some shit?
Something like that.
And they're trying to reestablish their footing, and they're doing it in a very aggressive and dominating style.
You tell them when you find out Palpatine's still alive.
Spoiler alert.
That movie's been out for quite some time.
Yeah.
So I think this is the most interesting, especially if you like political intrigue, because watching. So in the Mistborn books, an entire religion forms around a character who is no god, but he uses the way he acts and the way he his message that he's getting out there becomes very popular.
Yep.
And it's really funny. They call it the Church of the Survivor.
Yep.
Except the damn dude's dead, so figure that one out. But
well, actually,
it makes sense in the theme, but I wasn't gonna get too much into it.
Actually, he's not dead. You have to go into the wider sentence works, but he's still alive.
I read them all. I don't remember that.
Like you know the Ghost Bloods and the
yeah.
That Kelsey is the leader.
Oh, how'd you come to that conclusion?
Because some of the short stories already said so.
Oh yeah, I haven't read any short stories. I should probably get on that. All right, so that's interesting. Spoiler alert. We're full of those today. So leading into, I think that's just a really fun one. You can have a lot, especially if you like the more political intrigue stuff. Next, Brandon, do you want to tell us about the discovery, expansion, and invention?
Discovery, expansion, and invention. New discoveries change the world. Discoveries of new lands expand the map and change the boundaries of empires.
Yeah. Discoveries of new magic or technology expand the boundaries of what once was thought possible. New resources or archaeological finds create opportunity and wealth and set prospectors and power groups in motion to vie for their control. You see this really, really often with the alchemy and the more science-oriented type guilds and stuff, because their findings not only create things like black powder, but also they find new and interesting ways to evolve the world. I think Eberron is a really great example of that, because it meshes the combination of magic and technology, and it evolved because of new inventions, which pulls it out of that pure fantasy setting. So, is there any other discovery or expansion ones you can think of?
I mean, there's shitload of real world ones.
Like what?
The bicycle, the light bulb.
Yeah, those are inventions.
Yeah, exactly.
What about expansion?
Expansion.
Like discoveries of new lands and stuff. I think that comes into play with World of Warcraft, like you were talking earlier, right? Where the orcs come from the Outlands into the new area.
And the Age of Exploration, too, for that matter.
Some good stuff. Sorry, we're running out of time, so I'm trying to burn through these a little quicker than we were. Ian, do you want to tell us about number 9, predictions, omens, and prophecies? It's one of my favorites.
Sometimes the foretelling of a world-shaking event becomes a world-shaking event in and of itself. Omens that predict the fall of empires, the doom of races, and the end of the world. Sometimes an omen points to change for the good, a legendary hero or messiah, but the most dramatic prophecies warn of future tragedies and predict dark ages.
Yeah.
The end is nigh.
Unlike other world-shaking events, the outcome doesn't happen immediately. Instead, individuals or factions work to fulfill or avert the prophecy according to how it will affect them. The prophecy's helpers or hinderers are forces that create adventure hooks in campaigns by the actions they take. So a prophecy should foretell a big event on a grand scale, since it will take time for that to come true or to be, averted.
Dipping into a dipping to the wheel of time again. It's prophesied that the Dragon Reborn is the only one who can stand against the Dark One. The problem with that, though, is the Dragon Reborn is the reincarnation of one of the most powerful male magic users to ever live. But it's also, the catch-22 is male magic users in this franchise start to go insane.
Yep, they get tainted by the Dark One.
So the whole time, like, Rhaenyra's got to save us. But he's also a powerful magic user and might go nuts.
Yep, and that's a really, really great example of that, because the people are torn. They have two differing opinions on what is the best way to do it. Do we manipulate and control and leash this person so they work for us, or do we let them evolve on their own and show them what and guide them is the right, or do we just kill them? And you get these different factions within the group that are trying to deal with that in different ways.
And the sad part is, with many, if not most of them, you kind of see their point.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, and the last one is myth and legend. Brandon, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Myth and legends.
Sorry.
It's cool, thank you. Sometimes a world-shaking event takes on mythic or legendary proportions. If wars, plagues, discoveries, and the like can be called regular world-shaking events, these are the events that exceed and surpass them. The ones that come along only once a millennium, if ever, and shape the world's mythic outlook for all of time to come.
These wildcard events change a region or a whole world on a grand scale. Some forms this may take could be a crashing comet, destruction of the moon. That's one of my favorites personally. Another plane merging with the material realm. Hell yeah, creating a multiversal war. That sounds familiar right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, so these are things that don't necessarily fall into some of the categories of the other ones that you can plug into here. I like to think on a grander scale of like merging planes and stuff. That's what I think when I think mythic and legendary type world shaking events. Plane shaking events, so there's obviously a lot you can do with these things, and we hope that these provide you guys with some insight. Is there anything you think we should touch on before we move on that's specifically related to this?
Nope.
This sort of theme?
I'm also sitting there for time, though, so.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I'm okay with that. All right, so we've been working on something for a long time. I'm super excited. And so we got another drop. Honey, why don't you roll that beautiful bean footage? When you know, and you want to go get that bad boy right now.
I have fun playing it.
Yeah, it was a real blast.
Okay. Like, I still to this day chuckle when, like, me and Austin, we both built a crime fighter, and we ended up with completely different characters. And I remember we were talking about who would win in the fight 1-on-1. I'm like, what? I thought I said to Austin, like, I think you would win because you have flight and you have range attacks, and the advantage that is obvious. He's like, yeah, but your guy got next to my guy in hand-to-hand combat. I'll be destroyed. Yes.
That's what it is. All right, so why don't we talk about our character concept today, Ian?
Our character concept today is Raymond Stapleton. He is an attractive man, lean and moderately muscular. He wears dark clothing and a heavy breastplate, keeping many of his physical features obscured. His brown hair is thinning but still full. His fair skin shows little sign of his aristocratic breeding.
As far as his personality, he's highly sensitive about his name, Brandon, who started laughing as soon as we read his name, Stapleton. He loathes it, but will not take any guff about it from anyone. He cannot resist a sob story and will often dote over anyone who has one.
So in other words, it's like a boy named Sue.
Yeah.
His history is he's born in the north to a crown hair.
Air. Brandon, air.
That word.
Whatever. I said it right the first time. Raymond Stapleton learned a great deal about his father's area of expertise. He worked as a nervous crown hair and found it very stressful. He struck the crown hair job and began his own company from there. God damn it.
Yeah, this is a pretty simplistic
It's a crown hair.
character.
You got his motivation.
What's that?
His motivation. He's got one more thing
Oh,
you're supposed
does
to
he?
do.
His motivations: sabotage a competitor and fight the greatest warriors and fight in the greatest of battles ever.
So his goal is to fight great warriors, but screw them at the same time.
Yeah,
Okay.
is that a problem?
No.
What does it say? All right, so we're running out of time, so it's pretty straightforward. Use it as an NPC, use it as a PC. I promise the idea of him, like you've seen, if you watched Full Metal Alchemist, every time the guy gets called tiny or small, he freaks out. That's what I imagine Raymond Stapleton doing when somebody gives him a hard time about his name, or he just imagines somebody talking smack about it.
Andrew says Raymond Stapleton gonna get called Race Day as his nickname.
All right, I think that'll do it for our character concept, Raymond Staple.
What's up, Race Day?
Stapleton. Our monster variant of the podcast is the Vadhadraga. The Vadhadraga. I hate myself. Why do I do this? Vadhagraha. Yeah, let's go with that. So this is one of the biggest monsters that we've ever designed. You're going to start with the Tarask monster stat block, but it's going to lose its horns. It's going to lose Swallow and Chomp. We're going to give it new features. We're going to give it Fly.
Yeah, because why the fuck not?
Yeah, right? I mean, come on, Non. No? It's going to... Brandon, tell us a little bit about the Vadhagraha. That's how you say it.
Vadhagraha has 3 heads. While it has more than one head, the Vadhagraha has advantage on saving throws against being blinded, deafened, stunned, and knocked unconscious.
Jesus.
Yeah. Whenever the Vadhagraha takes 100 or more damage in a single turn, one of its heads dies. If all the heads die, the creature dies.
Ooh. At the end of its turn, it grows 2 heads for each of its heads that died since its last turn, unless it takes fire damage since its last turn. The Vadhagraha regains 60 hit points for each head regrown in this way.
I love how he said if all of its heads die, the creature dies, because it actually says its name. He's like, fuck that, I'm not saying that again. Reactive heads. For each head the creature has beyond one, it gets an extra reaction that can be used for opportunity attacks.
Wakeful. While the Vadhagraha sleeps, at least one of its heads is awake.
I'm glad one of us can say it.
Did you come up with the name?
It means like multi-headed something in Sanskrit. I forget.
Wow.
Okay.
We're gonna give it Omega Blast. The Vadhagraha creates 10 thin glowing beams of searing fire from its eyes. All of them. That track its targets. Each beam hits a creature of its choice that it can see within 120 feet. The beam deals 1d4 plus 1 fire damage to its target. The beams all strike simultaneously, and the the Vadhagraha can direct them to hit it one creature or several at once. But we're not done.
No.
Brandon, do you want to tell us about its reaction?
Its reaction: redirecting roar. When Vadhagraha is hit by
Nice.
a ranged attack, it can release a powerful sonic roar, increasing its AC by 2 against the attack. If the attack misses because of this increase, the Vadhagraha, a creature within 30 feet of it, is chosen at random and becomes the new target for that attack. Ugh. Use the original attack roll to determine if the attack hits the new target. So it's reflecting someone's attack to somebody else.
All right, so it's pretty obvious the inspiration is King Hydra or King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah.
Whatever
Is
the
this
hell its
is
name
that a
is.
Godzilla creature?
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, I can't call it that though.
Gaiaka!
So, what do you guys think about this? Besides, it's terrifying.
Is it beatable?
Yes,
Okay, then I like it.
just not by any players.
Guys, hit it with 100 damage 3 times before it moves. We might be able to take it down because we'll cut off all 3 heads.
Do you think the Omega Blast is too much?
I think it's too weak.
Really?
1d4.
It's a 9th level spell.
Really?
Doesn't mean all. Okay, just because you cast Magic Missile at 9th level doesn't mean it scales to 9th level. That's been proven many times.
Right, but still, it's at will.
Oh.
And there's no attack roll. It just hits.
Right.
Though I did change it to fire because fire is highly resistant, right? It's easy to resist fire. The fact that its heads grow back is a problem.
So it's a
And it can fly.
possible
and
maximum of what, 50 points?
I don't know, 150, I think, is the min it does. Because you're talking about 10 glowing. So if you assume
It's 10. A beam deals
think average
1d4
is like
plus
150.
1, so it's 5.
so but yeah, it's a
Well,
big
5 is the max.
it's
so,
a big
yeah.
mother effer
So
Yep.
5 times 10 is 50. Yeah, 50 HP.
that automatically hits.
Yeah.
Every day. I mean, so obviously it's not the most potent of its abilities, but the one thing that the Tarask always didn't have was a ranged
Range.
attack. So I had to give it to him.
Or
So,
flight.
what do you guys think about it?
I like the reflective ability.
Oh yeah,
That one seems like it'd be a lot of fun.
redirecting attacks just by roaring at something.
Yeah.
That's totally not an anime move that I have pulled out. So, all right, I think that'll do it. That'll be enough of the Vadhagraha. There it is.
Vadhagraha.
Vadhagraha. That's how you say it.
Vadhagraha.
Brandon, would you like to tell us about our encounter of the podcast?
Our counter for this podcast is the end of an era. Natural disasters have been wreaking havoc on the world. The temple of the followers of the light, led by the elf archmage Jelana Domain. She seeks powerful spellcasters to help her end the disastrous events. The followers of light indicate the disasters are not natural.
They are the result of the seals that hold the world breaker weakening. It's been over 3,500 years since the final sealing. The world's greatest wizards gathered to seal the Vadhagraha,
God
the
damn it.
world breaker in its prison.
The 4 seals need to be filled with power and infused, or Vadhagraha will break 3. Each seal is locked away in a hidden temple and protected by the 4 elements: earth, fire, wind, and water. Each of which
Heart!
Your powers combined.
Each of which is placed on powerful ley lines, conduits for arcane power around the planet.
You Captain Planet! Captain
We are
Planet!
planeteers.
You can be one too!
Because saving our planet is the thing to do.
And that's why we go over time, people.
The trial consists of 10 straight days of channeling arcane energy into the seals. Each temple is now the center of a different kingdom. The resealing will release enough energy to destroy the capitals of which the temples stand upon. Should Vadhagraha break free from the prison that is the moon.
The world will quite literally end and be reshaped to the world destroyer's desire. The moon is his prison?
Yeah.
That sounds so fucking cool.
Plot twist. Powering up the seals actually powers up the Vadhagraha.
And freeze it. Oh, shit. And the player characters have been tricked to believe it's the opposite.
Or or through the twisting of legends and retellings over the millennia, it got reversed.
Oh my goodness. This has the makings of a campaign, you guys.
That sounds cool.
What do you guys think? Pretty good?
Yep.
Fun? CR30, you don't want that bastard getting free because that's world ending right there.
Yep.
All right. That'll do it for our encounter, the end of an era.
Now, our measure M today is the chili mince cornbread.
Mm.
A traditional traveler's snack made with fresh steamed dough mixed with corn, rounded and baked. The bread is cut in half and hollowed out and filled with diced chili peppers and small chunks of peppered meat.
Oh, damn. That sounds so good.
Right?
Oh, wondrous item. Rare. This delectable meal was magically infused by the chili peppers that were grown in an area filled with the ashes of a dying fire elemental. Damn, that's spicy. There is enough bread for one use. When you spend 1 minute eating the cornbread, you gain advantage and resistance to cold damage, as well as you are immune to the effects of extreme cold temperatures. No wonder.
Ooh. Additionally, you can cast the Dragon's Breath spell a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus.
What?
This effect lasts up to 1 hour. Spells such as Dispel Magic or similar effects will end this magical effect. What do you think about my magical gourmet?
I want to eat it.
I want to eat it.
I know you do.
Dude, I bet we could totally make it.
Yeah. So
I just bought habaneros. We can make it.
So if you guys like stuff like this, I'm wondering if this is something people would like to see a lot of. This is probably the 4th one I've done. I remember the Fey bread and some other ones, but if this is something that you would like to see more of, please let me know. Comment in the commenty thingy down below. So yeah. All right. Overall, this is pretty fun. What do you guys think about the mechanics?
I like the idea that you get dragon's breath because it's like really hot. And the fact
10
that
gold points to the wife. We need more recipes. Anybody play Final Fantasy 15?
oh my god.
I discovered a new recipe. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I get it.
I to this day still want to make a character whose life goal is to make the world's greatest grilled cheese.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I can't remember. The fact that it lasts for 1 hour and you get dragon's breath for that amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, you're limited to how many times you can still use it, though, based on your proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
Yes, but
So
it's the
it
fact that
scales.
it's so damn hot that you just
The whole time. It reminds me of that episode of Simpsons where Homer eats the nuclear pepper and he goes to eat ice cream and it melts before he gets to his stomach. Anyways, I really like this. I'm not include an actual recipe. Who do I look like? Gordon Ramsay? I don't think so.
I'll make
But I
one.
appreciate it. All right, I think that'll do it for our
Yeah.
chili mince cornbread.
Look up pasties.
That's
Pasties?
exactly what a pasty is.
Well, except for the cornbread part, but yeah.
Yeah, just make it cornbread.
I thought we'll use it to type of bread.
How do you not know what that is? That's a Michigan recipe.
Who are you talking to?
You.
I didn't say I didn't know what a pasty is. I literally have gone to the place in Frankenmuth more than once.
I swore I heard you say. What the fuck is
Fair warning, it's spelled the same way as pasty, so careful what you Google.
Get some nasty stuff. All right, let's move on to our Dungeon Master tip. Actually, I think I'm going to cut. Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you go first?
Yep, our Dungeon Master tip today is the Tabletop Music Companion, which is in early access.
Oh, really?
There's no denying that audio tracks can make D&D much more engaging. Having multiple tracks to easily change during the situation really helps set the atmosphere. But what if you could do so easily at the press of a button? Change from one track to another. I lost my place.
Sorry, my bad.
Next to the next that represents the situation, not just the location. Really? Catching the atmosphere? Tabletop Music Companion nails this.
All right, so I want to take a second. This product. I'm going to get through the spiel first. So let's say that the characters seek the villain's lair. You can open up with the boss battle audio and then set the atmosphere to outside. And as the music begins, during the trek, the characters stumble across, let's say, excellent herbs for potions of healing. So you simply press the find button, the lucky find button, and it plays a congratulatory sound and a smooth transition back into the atmosphere. As they close into the lair, the ranger leads them into a monstrous beast that gives chase. Pressing the hunted button changes the music to match the tone and pace of the thing chasing you.
Huh. This
That's
music progression continues all the way to the big bad boss battle. Once you select the encounter music, you can start with the neutral with the neutral option as the battle begins. As the characters close in on victory or begin to get their hide handed to them, whichever one you want to go, there is yet another track to select for this situation. This even further engages the players and the audience. What a powerful tool! We highly recommend it. This takes your music track to the next level.
All right, so I have to say there are a lot of ways to play music in D&D. This is new, it's in the works, but I like that you don't have to pre-set up any sort of playlist. It just has different audio tracks for the setting and rotates between them as you activate them. And I really, really like this. It's an app on the phone right now. I did ask if he plans to bring it to desktop, and he did say that it depends on how successful it is. Consider going and checking it out and leaving feedback on his TikTok, his Twitter, or whatever platform you're using. This program is really, really cool. And right now, as early access, it's free. And if you happen to find any errors, just let him know so we can fix them. It's really, really, I love it. It's cool.
I love using music for my games.
Yeah, it really just adds to it.
It does.
All right, so that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip. Our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by using Obsidian Notes. Holy shit, you guys!
I've heard
This
of that.
powerful note-taking software allows you to easily string thoughts, concepts, and ideas together. Simply hyperlinking and then creating a visual line showing what all is connected to it, much like a digital conspiracy board. If you're looking for an easy way to connect NPCs, quests, factions, and pretty much anything else together, this is certainly the tool to do it. Oh, and you know what? It's 100% free. You have to try this out. I have only just started playing with it, and it blows me away. It very much, I mean, if I want to know what's connected to, say, a magical sword. So the magical sword connects to this NPC. This NPC connects to this quest. This quest then connects to the player that I want to get it. And it all strings together, and it's freaking nuts. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at it.
I've seen it on TikTok.
It's amazing. Check it out right now. Like, as soon as the show's over, go check it out.
It's super convenient for people who take notes.
Yes, for players and DMs alike. And if you're like me and have trouble tracking shit, it is amazing because you can zoom out and it looks like an atom, right? There's just lines and dots everywhere. It's very cool.
It's funny because the last TikTok I saw was me watching one of my players using Obsidian Notes and realizing and putting together the storyline to figure out who the actual big bad guy is. He's sitting there taking his notes. He's looking up at the monitor and going,
he's able to figure it out.
Oh my god. Then the DM looks at him and gives him that look like.
Like I said, it's very cool. You definitely got to give it a shot. You guys have anything to add to that?
No.
I just keep picking the conspiracy board from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Is that the meme?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The guy's like,
Yep.
Sorry. All right, that'll do it. What?
Using Obsidian Notes is not an automatic inspiration point. Just let you know.
All right, that'll do it for our player tip.
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by using Obsidian Notes. Now, before we go to our giveaway, I'd like to take a minute to say if you really enjoyed the main topic of world-shaking events, please consider going to our blog. There is a link to the actual text or the blog text to the DM. I think there's a link there to the file for the Dragon Magazine book or Dungeon Magazine book, whichever one it was. Pick it up. So what?
If your character has an intelligence of 20, but you have an int score of 8, Obsidian will allow your roleplay to be better.
That's funny. All right, so Brandon, would you like to tell us who's our lucky winner of the RPG Fat Loot giveaway here at Crit Academy?
Our lucky winner this week is...
Well, why don't you
Where
read
they
it
at?
first? let's read this.
Oh, I
first.
gotta read the whole thing first. Okay.
Well, the
The RPG
promoting the product.
The
or
RPG
they gave us a
Fat
copy to
Loot
give away.
giveaway.
Hey,
All the weapons. Shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
All the weapons by Sean Basterra. A collection of magic weapons for those who want more than just swords, featuring a total of 228 new magic weapons. Holy shit, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Covering the
They're good,
entire
too.
simple and martial weapons tables, detailed in the player's handbook, from clubs and slings to whips and nets. Ooh.
The nets are really cool.
Each weapon type features 6 magic items across the rarity spectrum, from simple common weapons to legendaries of myth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's the winner?
Our winner is Robert Jameson. Jameson.
Congratulations, Robert Jamerson.
Jameson.
If you didn't win, no problem. Head on over to critacademy.com and subscribe for your chance to win. And you'll get a free copy of our best-selling. Come on.
Huh?
Challenge accepted. I was hoping somebody would jump right in, but it's kind of just the way it goes. All right. Somebody is asking a very important question. When is our next Clash of Classes? We haven't penciled it in, but the plan is to try to do it every 2 weeks. So look forward to maybe seeing one in 2 Thursdays. If you don't know what Clash of Classes is, it is quickly becoming our most popular show. Come and join us. We're still working on the kinks, but man, is it a lot of fun. We pit currently, at the time, we pit 1v1 players against each other in an arena with monsters, and the ending of the last one, the tactics the player used just demolished the other player. And that just goes to show that it's not necessarily the powers, but the way you apply them and the strategies that you use. So.
Oh, I got one.
Okay. Well, with that. Oh,
you said it again.
I did. Brandon, you want to close us out here?
If you enjoy the show and want to support us, visit us at critacademy.com. Follow us on social media and leave us a review everywhere. 5 stars, it helps us out. It makes us feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe. If you're watching on another platform, go to YouTube and hit the subscribe.
Hit the like, subscribe button, notifications, get up!
Yeah! Woo-woo.
Yeah.
I feel like yours was a little low. You can try again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little better. We'll give it to him. That's a +1 blade right there. All right. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
And I'm your co-host, Brandon.
Guys,
Thanks for listening.
keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes. That does sound so much better.